Hey again, everybody. Scott with the Tourist Trap, and I'm at my old stomping grounds here at Epcot. Used to work here part-time. Gosh, that's been 5 years ago. 2012, April 2012, I started at Epcot overnights, and then moved over to Magic Kingdom. And I'm gonna walk around and see if we can't remember a few things that happened during the night shift when I was a cast member. I am now headed over to the Seas with Nemo and Friends, the first buildings that I was assigned to when I started working at Epcot. And it is probably the only building here at Epcot that has the most carpet in the building. Quite a bit of carpet in this building. I was all night vacuuming this building. You get lost in this building too. I got lost many nights in the Living Seas building. I am outside the Living Seas with Nemo and Friends. It's not called the Living Seas anymore. It's just called the Seas with Nemo and Friends. I've always referred to it as the Living Seas because that's what it did start out as. And I spent many a night inside this building getting lost in all the corridors on the 3rd floor and trying to find my way to the exit. And now I'm about to board the clamshell of this attraction. Spent many a nights in this building. Going to tell you some more about that in a little bit. Well, I am in my clamshell and we are taking off. Lots of memories in this building for sure. It's a little dark in here, but Nemo, where are you, son? Nemo? Oh, Nemo, not again. Nemo! And this is where the jellyfish live, under the sea.
Looks like a balloon.
Jellyfish!
Right. Okay, now.
Okay, little dudes! And now I am off the Nemo ride. I'm gonna walk over into the main area, which this is one big gigantic room on the bottom and on the top, and it's wall-to-wall carpeting, which, as you can see, the carpeting is everywhere. And there's these a pod here and a pod over here and a pod back there. And I was literally all night vacuuming this thing. This room here is where the manatees are at, and it was very spooky at night, especially upstairs, vacuuming in the room because all the lights were out in these rooms, and you could hear that manatees make a noise, and it scared the bejeebies out of you. Right there is the manatee, one of them eating some lettuce. This is his tail right here. And believe me, at night with the lights off in this room, and they make this loud noise in the water, it really would scare me because you didn't know when it was coming. Right over here, there used to be a big dent in this glass. Let's see if they fixed it. No, they have not fixed it. The dent is still there. I am now going to go upstairs and show all the carpet up here. There's a lot of rooms up here. It goes all the way out into like a deck area, and the pods are up here as well. And on both sides is where you can go back through there up into the top levels, which guests cannot access. This here is the room that I didn't like vacuuming because it was always pitch dark in here, and you could hear them manatees making noise over there. This building really brings back the memories of my first experience working at Disney, vacuuming all this carpet in this building. Oh my goodness, this was one big carpet fest. Looks like we got about 3 divers out in the tank doing some cleaning and maybe feeding some fish. And as you can see, there is a diver out here in the tank. Got some big fish coming by. Here's a big stingray coming at us. And that is a huge guy. These fish used to come up and stop and stare at me at night because they have nothing else to look at. Over here in this window, there is another diver. Looks like he might be doing some cleaning there of the coral. There is a sea of fish out here. A sea of sea life. Another shot of this diver here. He's flapping his fins along with the fish. Big fish, little fish. There's a fish. Big old stingray coming up around the corner again. There's a whole school of fish down here, and here comes the 2 or 3 divers coming out, going out into the tank. This is something you normally don't see that often here, is the divers out in the tank. One of the odd things about being here during the day with all the people in here, I used to be the only person in this whole building all night long. You didn't see nobody here but me and the fish. Pretty creepy. Right here is the big tube where the divers go back out into the tank, and the doors right back behind there is a big hallway where they do the dolphin experience. I've cleaned that many times. Not fun. And this little room here is pretty colorful because at night you couldn't see the fish because all the lights are out. Because they do have some colorful fish here, as you can see. There's a blue one, he's pretty. Floating along into the coral. This is probably one of the coolest tanks, is right here in this little pod. This is that lionfish, which is kind of freaky looking. He is weird looking. I'm glad I couldn't see him at night because the lights was off. They did turn out the lights due to the fact they give the fish a little bit of rest with the lights being off. This is one freaky looking guy right here. We got a little seahorse going right there. Right up here is a starfish sticking to the side of the tank. There's that seahorse right here.
Here's another seahorse right here.
And as you exit, it is a gift shop, which was one of the last things I used to clean. I always like to clean up with the sour powder area. I don't know if they have one of those. I don't think they have it here no more, but I used to vacuum that, and you could really smell the pucker powder, all the tanginess in the air. Well, that was the Seas with Nemo building, one of the first buildings I worked at when I started at Disney here at Epcot in 2012. Probably not too many people can say they've locked out a ride and walked through it. I have walked through this entire attraction, locked it out, turned on the lights, and walked through. Not very many people have walked through this ride. There's a lot of remnants from the old ride. If you turn the lights on and look back towards the cars, it's a lot of stuff still there. It's pretty cool. They have these little mats on the throughout the attraction. If someone gets out of the car, alarm will go off. The ride will shut down, and they'll have to evacuate it. It's sensors. They know exactly which car you were in too, because they're all numbered. And so do not get out of your vehicle. One night I did have a coworker. She was Vietnamese, and she didn't speak English. And her husband, he spoke some English, and they were both working in the Seas with Nemo building with me. And maintenance was doing their maintenance checks on the ride, and she walked out into the Seas with Nemo ride while the clamshells were still moving. And I had to call maintenance. I had to inform them she was out on the attraction, and they immediately shut it down. Then I had to call translation services to tell her not to ever do that again, because she could get terminated. That's one thing would get you terminated here at Walt Disney World, is to walk out into an attraction while it is moving. That's why they have the lockout, tag out system in place. And right here is the entrance to Interventions, and also you can go through here to get to Electric Umbrella. But I used to take my break. I used to be stuck over here in this building at night at the character spot meet and greet outside the building at about 2 a.m. I would sit right here at this bench and have my lunch. And there is a lot of carpet inside this building too. I was here when they was redoing the character spot, and all this, they had a temporary character spot right over here where these two blue doors are. They have put some greenery in here and some tables and stuff. This here looks a lot different than when it did when I was here, but I had to vacuum all this carpet in this whole room here all the way back through there, and up and around this corner back to the Fountain View ice cream shop, which is now Starbucks. And these guys right here, they're coming out of the character dressing room. And I used to go clean the character spot dressing room, and that is where you go to it, right back that way. Another thing about these two intervention buildings, there are tunnels underneath both of the interventions buildings, and they have a big kitchen down there. And I used to come through there in the morning and smell the cinnamon rolls, and they would be making cheesecakes, and they had one of those super duper large mixers. I mean, I never seen one that big, but that's the way they get their the merchandise and stuff into the park, through the tunnel up at the front end of these tunnels. Also over underneath the land pavilion, there's also a small tunnel over there, so you can get a little lost when you first start working here. One of the first places I went and visited, underneath these tunnels here, underneath the interventions, was Chippendale's dressing room. And here at Epcot, the cast called Chippendale's dressing room the Nut House. This right here is the entrance, one of the entrances around to the back of Club Cool. And I remember one night we pulled up right here in front of this doorway in a pickup truck. Right in here, pulled up right in here in a pickup truck, came from back this way, right into here, right here, because we was going in here to Club Cool because they had a complaint about some fixtures on the wall. They was wanting me to try to get it off, and it was like a fabric, and there was no way we could get that off. We looked at it, me and my manager. But the floor in here, I never did clean this floor, but this floor was always one big sticky mess due to all the soda tasting and stuff. And there's a door right here. Back in that door is all the boxes with tubes and stuff feeding all of these fountains out here. That people's getting those free taste testing of the different sodas from around the world. I might as well get me a taste test of the Fanta Melon Frosty, which is my favorite. Melon Frosty is always so good. Definitely come in and check out Club Cool. It is very cool, and good place to get you a quick cold drink. Here is a really nice shot of these flowers, and they are in the shape of a butterfly. You can't see that. Over there in the distance you can see the old Odyssey restaurant. They do rent that out at night to different organizations to have functions and parties. Used to have to go in there and clean up in the old Odyssey building. Sometimes during these festivals they do have something going on in there, possibly some kind of food sampling or tasting. They do have a big topiary of Cruz Ramirez of the movie Cars out here at the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot. And probably the topiary everybody wants to see is the Lightning McQueen topiary, which is sitting right here, just steps away from Test Track, right back behind it. Well, this does bring back some memories here at Test Track building. I remember cleaning this building for months when it was down and they were redoing the whole attraction. I was actually here for the opening morning when they reopened the attraction with Good Morning America out here in front with a big stage. I was one of the first persons to be able to get on that. We was riding it before the guests were. But always we get lost in this building. Even after they redesigned it, I still got lost in the building. It's kind of a maze. And even though on opening day they didn't have all the line queue items in place, it was a few more weeks or months. They finally got all the finishing touches on it. But I remember this building very well. Test Track, cleaning this building night after night, even though no one was riding it. We were still cleaning it because they were in there doing all kinds of construction and stuff. really cool to be able to have been part of all those behind the scenes activities here. And a lot of people think that once everybody leaves, when the park closes, there ain't nobody here. There's hundreds of people here at night. Not only the cleaning crew, but I say we, and I want to say we. I used to say we because I worked here. There's also ride maintenance. They're on here, in here, checking all the rides all night, doing all their safety checks and tests. And you got a horticultural crew that come in here every night, and in different areas I would watch them. They would pull up an entire flower bed of flowers and replant with brand new flowers, and they'd be fresh by the time the guests walked in the next morning. And of course, all the walking area here is hosed down every single night by a hose crew. And when you walk in here in the morning, it looks like it's wet, like it has possibly rained. It's not rained. It's from overnight custodial. I did not want to be on the hose crew, that was for sure. They had about 20 guys just going around the promenade out at the World Showcase. It was a pretty big hose crew. A lot of hard work. And right here behind me is another building I spent a little bit of time in. This Mission Space. Not too many people can say they've been inside of every single car at this attraction. There's 4 ride bays, 4 different ride bays, and it is a maze in there, especially when you're cleaning the floor and cleaning all the cars. I did get lost a few times going in and out of doors, and each bay looked the same. Of course, I had to lock out the ride and everything, so before I walked out into the attraction, just for safety reasons they do that, so somebody won't turn it on while I'm out in there. And but I have walked through each car in all 4 bays of Mission Space. I am now inside Mouse Gear, another shop that I used to clean, and believe me, this one was a lot of fun. One of the things I did clean which is up in the ceiling here, these big circles way up here. I would have to take a big extended dusting unit thing with a big extender and clean all the cobwebs up inside of these big circles. And as you can see, it's pretty tall, and it was back-breaking work. One of the things a lot of people might not know is right up here behind this fixture, there in the top behind this fixture is an elevator that takes you up to the break room, up into the top floor. Well, that was a quick little trip through Mouse Gear. I've just been wandering around remembering certain things. There's a lot of things that I did that I could tell you. I only touched on a part of those. I worked here in Epcot from April of 2012 till February of 2013. Then I switched from overnight building services to merchandise in Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland, and I was there from April of 2013 up until July of 2015 part-time, and I still do keep in contact with the people I work with in Tomorrowland on a regular basis, and there's 2 or 3 cast members that I still keep in contact with that I work with at Epcot. Wanda and Judy, love you guys. I know you probably might be watching this, but both of you guys do a lot of hard work, and you've been here almost 30 years each. And still miss Joan, another lady that worked with us at Epcot. Super nice little lady. She worked here almost 30 years and retired, and moved back to Kentucky. And she wasn't back there very long, and they put her in hospice, and she got really sick. And the girls here at Epcot that I work with, they went all the way to Kentucky to see her before she passed away. Always think of Joan. She was a character. I worked with her many a night over in Italy, doing some bathrooms and stuff, and she was feisty. Me and her would always clean the Pico building, which people don't know what that is unless you work here. It's the entertainment building over here at Epcot where the entertainment characters go pick up their costumes and stuff. This is going to conclude my trip here, walking down memory lane, former cast member at Epcot, remembering some of the things that happened while I worked here overnights. in building services. Called it building support services. It was a fancy name for custodial, because we cleaned all the restrooms in here. Not only the guests, but we cleaned the cast restrooms. All those are hydrofoamed down every night with chemicals. Big process. Everything's vacuumed, cleaned, so everything can be fresh for the very next day when guests come in the park. This is a good experience. I really enjoyed working with the people that I did work with. But I'm gonna leave now. I'm a little tired walking around Epcot, remembering some stories, some things that happened, things I did. Brings back a lot of memories. I have to do another one of these videos because I got a bunch of stories. So much happened within almost a year here, just working at Epcot. And I'm looking at the monorail and I'm thinking, oh my, we cleaned all those lights. There's about 278 lights on the monorail platform. If you look up and see all those lights, we took out all the plastic fixtures over covering the lights and cleaned them on both sides. 4 of us. Took us 2 or 3 nights to do with scaffolding. And I have to say, I have walked across the monorail where the monorail actually rides through there. I've actually walked across there, which guests cannot do at all. But this will conclude. I'm still talking and keep walking into things that I remember that I did and touching on those things. But remember, go out there, make it a great day because you deserve it.